Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force. I hope you're having a great Tuesday morning or whenever you are watching this. We have a few things to talk about, including the return of the Shadow King, whose trial is going to be running later on today. I also want to talk about how if you get through this on especially difficulty 15, you can get yourself from a 4 red to a 5 red. Now, this is because in the milestones, we'll take a look at that as well, that we're going to be getting some Astral Force. You know, that stuff that maybe you were buying in the store, maybe you didn't. But, you know, for me, I went and bought myself from a 3 red to a 4 red. That was about it. But then I found out that, well, I mean, I had no idea, obviously, that this was coming back so soon. And if you clear this, you're going to get more Astral Force. So you might be able to get yourself some additional red stars. Also, there's a few things I want to talk about, some rumors that have been going around. I've been getting a lot of DMs on Discord related to this that I just want to put to bed. There's a little bit of data mines I want to talk about, and then we're also going to be covering the math of the Spotlight Raid 2 Alliance event milestone. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. Okay, so first, let's just start here. I wanted to get this out of the way. This is the Into the Spotlight Alliance milestone. This is the Spotlight 2 event. And I want to talk about, you know, how far that you can get, what I personally recommended, what I'll be doing with my alliance. Now, as it sits right now, the bonus points that you get from the various difficulties, whether it's a D1 or D2, is very minor. And so what really matters the most is how many how many nodes are you clearing, you know, full stop, but how many uncanny Avenger nodes, how many Jean Greys do you have, that kind of thing. Because the more uncanny Avenger nodes that you can clear, the more milestone points that you're going to get, right? You know, that much is obvious. But you know, it's quite a big difference, and I want to talk about it. So first of all, there's 150 nodes, I guess, across 3 strike teams, but each strike team has 50 nodes per map on Spotlight 2. So the percentage is based on 150 nodes. To get 70%, we're largely going to be taking a look at the difference between 70 and 150. 70 and 100%. And I do know that, you know, you do need some Jean Greys, you know, at least a few of them to get to 70%. So do take this with a little grain of salt, but you know, I don't know where people are at, and I can't do a scenario for literally everyone. But you need to do about 105 nodes to get to 70%. So 105 out of 150. Now, there are 36 unrestricted nodes across all 3 teams. So we are going to go with the assumption that you are clearing at least the unrestricted section and the Alpha Flight section. So that's worth 9,000 points, and then 24,000 points for the Alpha Flight section. There is also 3 mid bosses. This is the boss between Alpha Flight and Uncanny Avengers, which you can do after Alpha Flight, and that's going to give you 6,000 points across all 3 maps. And then when you get to the Uncanny Avenger nodes, they're worth 2,000 points apiece. Now, there's a total of 60 nodes across the 3 teams, which gets you a total of 120,000. Now, that's if you're going towards 100%, which is not what we're doing. However, I just wanted to lay all the points out. And then there's, of course, a final boss, which is going to be another 6,000 points across the 3 teams. Now, if everyone claims their allied orb fragments, that should give you 144,000, 1,000 daily per person for 6 days, that kind of stuff. There's also the 230k raid limit points that are there as well. So the total amount of daily node points, though, if you are doing 100%, is going to be 165,000. Now, this is not including the difficulty stuff yet. I add that up later on. But if you do 6 days of that, that's 990,000 at D0. Basically, it doesn't include the bonus points for the difficulties. The Jean Grey points are worth 60,000, and so the total points that you can get at D2 at 100% is 1.6 million, and this does get you milestone 20 because it caps out at milestone 1.5 million for milestone 20. So it is clearable, free to play. I mean, free to play if you cord for Jean Grey, that kind of thing. If enough of you cord for Jean Grey, I do believe it takes 18 people to fully do 100%. So it's a fairly tall ask, which I don't expect everyone to be doing. That's why we do have some different scenarios. Sorry, it's 1.6 million. What was I talking about? Yeah, so you're still clearing that though at the milestone 20. So that's still nice there. I actually got that wrong, so I should change this to milestone 19. We'll get to that. So if you wanted to do D1 70%. I want to, on this side over here, you can kind of see how basically you're getting 15,000. If you're doing 100%, you're getting 15,000 daily points for D1 and 30,000 for D2. So this will make the difference between milestone 19 and 20, but only for the people who are literally shooting for 100%. So if you do want to clear milestone 20, you're going to need to do 100% D2. Unless I got something wrong, I'm pretty sure that's what I added it up to. But if you're doing D1 70%, now my assumption here is that you're clearing all of the unrestricted nodes, you're clearing all of the Alpha Flight nodes, you're clearing the 3 mid-boss nodes, and you're making up the difference with the Uncanny Avenger nodes. And that gets you to about 85,500 daily points across 6 days. This is 513. I've also thrown in the Jean Grey points, but if you have honestly, even if you have 6 Jean Greys, you could also use Jean Grey in the Orcus raid. You could replace Gambit or something like that, and I'm pretty sure with Old Man Logan you can still clear those nodes, and so you could still get other raids, other places where you can use Jean Grey in the raids in order to get those points, because I don't believe it specifically calls out using Jean Grey. It just says battle and raids, so you could actually use this anywhere to get that. And basically, if you're doing D1 70%, you can reasonably get about 950,000. It's very close to milestone 18. You need 960, so that's basically like a few more Uncanny Avenger nodes after that. So I think honestly it's probably possible to get. So if you're doing D1 70-ish, milestone 18 is very reasonable to get. D1 100% can get you to milestone 19. But again, if you do want to do milestone 20, you need to be doing D2 100. Now, my personal recommendation is actually to do D1. Now, unless you have a full alliance or 18 plus Jean Greys, and you can go for this 100%, go for it. But honestly, the major difference for me is that D2 requires a lot of manual play, and it's honestly not that fun. This first node here is actually very challenging with the Black Cats. I've actually, when I did it today or yesterday, I had to redo this like 3 times. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but doing this with 4 characters on D2 is a bit of a pain in the ass. So after this raid is finished, I'm actually going to be going back to D1 so that we can maximize the amount of nodes cleared. And that's going to be the most important thing to this kind of this whole month, honestly, of doing this alliance event, unless they change the bar. I think the most important thing is how many nodes that you're clearing. It is not easy, with 4 characters, and doing it at D1 is going to be a lot easier and borderline simmable. So that's personally what I would recommend for that. So hopefully that helped there. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the Shadow King trials that are going to be coming back. That's over here. And so I noticed that, PS, there's no leaderboard. So basically, you just do the highest difficulty run that you can. You don't even need to do packs, really, other than there's like a couple that are worth using. And I might do a separate video on this about the best way to do it. And I might do some gameplay of me clearing the nodes, because I don't know if I have a video on that, actually. So I might do that again. But when you see here that starting from milestone 8, there's Astral Force, and this is going to help you get more red stars, because that milestone is still running. And there's a total of 160 Astral Force that is up for grabs, on top of a lot of purple ions, lots of red gear, mutant gear, whether you use it for Shadow King or you use it for, Jean Grey or some of the X-Men or whatever you want to do. There's some good red gear here to pick up. Now, if you go back to the milestone, right, for the Race to the Shadow King, you can see here that if you just bought a 4 red Shadow King, that it costs 160 exactly to go from a 4 red to a 5 red. So I'm lucky that I didn't continue buying the the Astral Force, and so by clearing difficulty 15, I'm going to be able to then go from a 4 to a 5 red without having to spend anything. I know a lot of people did, some people did buy Astral Force, and it was a lot of gold conversion or snow globe conversion to the Astral Force. I didn't feel that it was worth it, honestly. And if you were at 5 red, the 160 that you get from the trial is not going to be enough for a 6 red. You would still need to bridge the gap there. Now, if you didn't buy anything, it's probably going to give you a good amount of, Astral Force towards 3 or 4 reds. So either way, hopefully some people are going to be picking up some red stars that way. The next thing that I want to talk about there is going to be the Datamine. Actually, let's talk about the Shadow. We'll get there. Let's talk about the recap on the nodes, by the way, just really quickly. To let people know what's going on. If you haven't checked this out, it's up on the blog. You can see this here. But basically, let's go into full screen mode, actually. You can see the different characters that you're going to need for this global villain. A lot of people used Orcus for this, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember having that hard of a time on Shadow King Trial, to be honest. So I believe that I used Apocalypse and Orcus here. The Brawler's non-mythic. This was probably a little bit more challenging. Merc's Undying really is just the Old Man Logan show, and I think that's why they're bringing this back again so soon, is because they didn't have the Old Man Logan trial before the first Shadow King, and I think a lot of people were a little bit upset about that. So I think the biggest issue here was that section, but also the Brawler Non-Mythic had a little bit of challenging nodes, but the rest of it was honestly really easy. So I do want to cover that really quickly. I kind of want to show you the kind of the characters that I'm going to be using in the Brawler section, of course, non-mythic, so no super scroll, I'm pretty sure, in here. But you can kind of see the characters that are at the top of my roster. Thanos Endgame was someone that I used a lot in this. I also used, if I'm not mistaken, I think I still use Lady Deathstrike, Nightcrawler, Vol, Guardian. You could use other characters now that we have more stars on some of these characters. Blade, Ancient One, not the best, but she's actually not too bad. Vulture has some good plug and play ability as well. So I would honestly say anyone in this sort of upper echelon, in this like top 12-ish characters, other than Ultimus and Super Scroll, you can use any of these characters here. That'll probably work for you, depending on what difficulty you're going to run. I remember using a collection of them. I remember subbing them in for different nodes. I think I will have a gameplay video out either later on Tuesday tonight, maybe, or Wednesday morning, something like that. Yeah, so I forgot to record this. Now I'm recording it. I don't know where in the video this is going to go, so my apologies if it seems like there's a weird cut here about me talking about the fitness orb. So a lot of people were also asking me what kind of fitness orbs that I am buying for this event. And basically we're comparing fitness orb 6, the 4,000 one, with fitness orb 1 that costs 7,000. And this one kind of sucks. Not to mention it's false advertising because it shows that there's unique items on here with Nightcrawler. I believe that's Wolverine and Nimrod's unique item. And if you look inside of it, the left pillar has just some origin gear. The right pillar has some catalysts, and the middle part has minis. Nowhere in any of this are unique items, not even red uniques, or the item themselves. So false advertising. It also costs a lot more for reason of, honestly, in my opinion, I don't think that this is worth it anymore, because not only is it random, but the Snow Globe and all of the event stores have given you bucket loads of this. So personally, what I am doing is buying the Fitness Orb 6 for 4,000, because honestly, DPCs are still extremely valuable. Even though the average is going to be somewhere between 15 and 30, there is still a chance at a jackpot. The character shards, you don't necessarily need as much because a lot of them are farmable now at this point. You might still need some Thanos or Hank Pym shards, if you're a mid-game player. Some of this stuff, might not be of super big value to you. But on the right, you do get a chance of 80 red gear pieces. And this is a lot because it's actually more than the other two pillars from the other orb that costs more. And you're still getting both 80 catalysts. Not both, but you can either get 80 catalysts or 80 origin pieces. And so I think the value is still quite there for what's almost like half the cost of the other orb. So I would personally recommend buying this Fitness 6 orb with your lucky coins for this week's event. Now, I do want to talk about something else that was on my mind, and we're going to go into, where's my data mines? Is this my data mine scene? Let's zoom in here, and let's zoom out a touch. Nope, never mind. Let's go there. We'll leave it here. So there was some people, quite a few actually, like I would say about 10 people over the last couple of days DMing me about some of these rumors that have been going around. Now, you may have seen this in my Data Mines channel from December the 20th. December the 20th is when I posted this about Throg. Apparently, this came really late to other people's Data Mine channel, but I had this out pretty early on. And a lot of people were asking me whether or not he's coming to the game, because a lot of people are, well, there's a few content creators out there who have been suggesting something like Throg and the Pet Avengers and other crap like that. It is not happening. I'm not gonna say it's never gonna happen, but I'm telling you that based on what I've seen in the data mines, this is because it's going to be an avatar icon at best, or not either an avatar icon, or it's not gonna be a frame. You know what? It's probably gonna be an avatar icon, because the way that this is in the data mines is exactly the same way as it was for the Living Tribunal, MODOK, and the Watcher. And the Watcher we don't even have yet, and he is in the game. But the way that they showed up, I think it was earlier on in my data mine. Honestly, it was somewhere up here, right? Like I data mined it up somewhere. I don't know if I want to go too far looking for it, but trust me, it's in here. Like right here. So ID shard MODOK, ID shard the Watcher, ID shard Living Tribunal. So it's in the exact same coding kind of pattern as it is for Throg. And so while I posted a photo of Throg down here, I honestly think that they're doing the exact same thing. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're monetizing like avatar icons or what their deal is, but this is not the Pet Avengers coming to Marvel Strike Force, because I feel like if they were, I would know something about it, because I have a pretty good track record when it comes to these kinds of things. The other thing I want to talk about is a data mine for next week's event. Coming soon, Phoenix Force Fitness. That's kind of funny, isn't it? Because I just spoiled the Phoenix Force team or new trait coming to Marvel Strike Force. Now, this kind of tells me that, yes, I understand that Jean Grey is this Jean Grey is not the Phoenix. If you read what this entails. However, I do think that this is basically them teasing the Phoenix Force coming to the game, which is probably just around the bend, honestly. But anyways, this event, you gain progress by using Absolute A-Force characters and Hercules in Alliance War Offense. Now, in the blog post, we didn't get a date for Hercules, but this suggests to me that it's going to be sometime during this event, which will be like next week at some point. So do expect Hercules to be coming then. There's going to be this Phoenix Fitness Orb, and it's going to be a leaderboard, actually, that includes Jean Grey diamonds. Not like any of us have 7 yellow or 7 red for her. Well, not that any of us have 7 yellow, because most of us don't Kraken out. But there you go. It's going to be another leaderboard event coming next week. You get points here for using all of the Absolute A-Force and Hercules at 5, 6, 7 yellow in War, Battle in War. And what's not clear is how you get these orb fragments. It does say a little bit in here, but it doesn't say if it's an energy thing, like if it's campaign energy or ISO energy or anything like that. I don't know. So that's subject to change. And it's kind of hard to see because I really need to get a better... Let's see, can we see it? No, because I have a shitty frame. I should always maybe fix this out. But the Phoenix... Nope. The Phoenix Fitness Orb contains Crimson Gear and Shards for Astral and Annihilator's characters. I'm trying to make... There, you can see it there. Okay, we're done. So... One other thing is that I want to, at the end of the video here, is I want to talk about Red Hulk, because I've gotten also about another half a dozen DMs. Oh, we're in the wrong scene. Sorry. Let's go back to the regular one. I've been about half a dozen DMs regarding Red Hulk and whether or not he's going to be getting a rework as far as the Captain America Brave New World movie, any tie-ins to that. There is not going to be a Red Hulk rework. I am sorry to burst the bubbles of people who think that this is going to happen. It is not happening. There is... I think a particular content creator out there who has been, I don't know if he's gaslighting the community or what. I haven't watched the videos, I'll be honest, but people have been telling me that this person has been saying that this particular rework's coming to the game, and it's not. Like, I'm not going to say this is never going to happen, but it's not coming anytime soon. And so I just wanted to kind of put that to rest a little bit. I want to clear the air on what is happening in the game and what is not happening in the game. And I'm going to tell you, unfortunately, Red Hulk is not getting a rework for Captain America, the Captain America movie coming soon. So I hope that helps. I hope that kind of clarifies some things a little bit. There is, of course, going to be some new stuff after the Phoenix Force. You know, I've talked about a lot on this channel as far as what's coming around the bend, you know, some other future content, especially, I think I mentioned Onslaught. That's still on the docket in the near future. But just keep an eye on the channel. We'll have more things to cover, to unveil, and all things like that on Marvel Strike Force. I hope that some of this helped. Good luck on the Shadow King trial later on today. And that's all I have to say. So until next time, everybody, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.